With the power cord unplugged, I'm now going to replace the standard blade with a stacked dado blade. The stacked dado blade will allow me to make a wider cut in a single pass. Since I'll be configuring the stacked dado blade to make a 1/2 inch wide cut at 3/8 of an inch deep, I should be able to make my cuts in a single pass without having to readjust the height of the blade each time. The first step is to remove the current blade. I like using a blade lock for safety and gloves. These are all carbide bit blades and they are very sharp. I don't want to lose the nut down inside the table saw, so I'm being very careful. There's a big washer, and the original blade comes off. I'll set that aside. The stacked dado blade kit I have comes with a single left hand outside blade and a single right hand outside blade. Each of these blades have a 1/8 inch kerf. A kerf is the width of the cut. This stacked dado blade set also comes with multiple 4-tooth wing chipper blades. There are 4 of them that cut an 1/8 inch wide kerf, one that cuts a 1/16 inch kerf, and one chipper blade that cuts a 32nd inch wide kerf. What they have done in this diagram is they've labeled each of the blades A, B, C, D, and E to make it easier to assemble the right thickness that you need. If I want to make a 1/2 inch wide kerf, the chart recommends using A, which is the left outside blade, B, which is the right outside blade, and 2 of the E wing chippers, each cutting an 1/8 of an inch kerf. So since these all cut 1/8 inch wide kerfs, that adds up to 1/2 inch. Here's the left outside blade. There's a protective piece of plastic in between each wing chipper. Here's an 1/8 inch kerf wing chipper that we'll use. And another 1/8 inch wide wing chipper. I'm being very careful to stagger the points of the blade. If I put them on top of each other, carbide is very brittle and I could chip the blades. We'll put the rest of these aside because I won't be needing them. And we finally get to the other outside blade. We're ready to start assembling the dado blade. I usually use a blade stiffener in my table saw. I want to make sure that there's no sawdust on it, and I'm going to clean the inside face of where it rests. Carefully insert it. Again, power cord is definitely unplugged, and I also have the safety key removed. The first blade I'm going to need is the left outside blade. We'll very carefully position it Next, I'll install one of the 1/8 inch wide wing chippers. Wing chipper must be installed in the proper orientation with the cutting edge facing towards the front of the table saw. When inserting it, just take your time and make sure that you don't have the teeth touching each other like I have here. The teeth must be offset. Here's the second 1/8 inch wide wing chipper. Again, when inserting it, you don't want them to be aligned like that. You want them to be offset. Since these are 4-tooth blades, I'm going to offset it so it's about halfway in between the first chipper. And the last one to put in is the right-hand side. Just being very careful. Okay. Make sure the positions of your wing chippers are good. You don't want the wing chippers to be touching any of the other blade surfaces. That looks very good. We'll just hand tighten it first. Take a look at all the chippers to make sure everything is lined up properly. We don't want any teeth touching any other metal surfaces. You may have noticed when I removed the original blade, I used my blade lock device to help hold the blade in place when I turn the nut. Unfortunately, this is only good for a single blade, so this isn't going to work. So the best way I've found to hold the blade in place while you're tightening the nut is to take a scrap piece of wood and hold it against the teeth on the blade so it doesn't rotate. I'll be tightening in a clockwise direction, which means I'll need to put the board over here. This is kind of awkward, so I'm just going to bend over here and get the work done. Very carefully, slowly tighten the blade. Get it good and snug. Okay, one final check for alignment. Everything looks really good. The nut is very tight. And the last step is to change out the standard throat insert, which just isn't big enough to be safely used with the stacked dado blade, with a thicker one for stacked dado blades. Again, being very careful when you insert it. I'm going to lower the blade so I don't take any chances on nicking the teeth. Okay. Take the screwdriver, tighten down the throat insert. And what I like to do when I make this tight is I like to feel here and here. And before it's tight, I feel that this is a little bit lower than the surface of the table saw. But when I tighten this, it has a tendency to want to bow up the throat insert. So I'm going to feel that and make sure that the throat insert is pretty much flush with the top of the table saw. And that feels good. The stacked dado blade is now inserted.